Hello everybody and welcome to episode 3 of Building Felucia. Whoa. Hello everybody and welcome to episode 3 of Building Imperial Refinery in LEGO. In today's episode I get an absolute ton of progress done, and the 2-week wait was well worth it because I get the bottom of the pit done, I get the 3 structural rings for the pit done, I get the towers for the pit done, I also get a section of the terrain on the edge done, and lastly I get a little bit of prototyping done for the wall sections of the pit. So without further ado, let's get into all the progress, starting with the order I received. Okay everybody, so I got all of the dark orange and other pieces that I will not be using for the pit design sorted into those, and I left all the other pieces out for the pit design, mainly just so I don't have to go digging around in various containers, as well as the fact that a lot of these are going to need their own container, and there's no reason to put them in a container if I'm just going to take them out in a few days. So I piled them all in this bin here, and it's quite a lot of pieces to be using for the design, but I ordered enough to build it fully just as the base prototype, but each section will have some little detail that will save me a few parts and allow me to have a few tiles, a few other pieces saved for various other things. So without further ado, let's get into me building the 45 of these sections to complete the 3 structural rings for the pit. Okay everybody, so I got a huge amount of progress done in this episode, and I will be starting with the boring progress and moving on to the more exciting stuff over here at the end. But I will also be lumping all of that stuff that is on that side together because it all goes together. So starting with the progress I have made on the actual base plate, you can see I got the black tile for the bottom of the pit down, and there are a few studs in here for later details. Moving on, as you can see, I was able to get the pretty much entire border of the terrain done. Now, this isn't complete. There are still the chunks that will go here for the raised section of the terrain, but I am really happy with how this rippling kind of mesa terrain turned out, and I'm really happy with it, especially the color variation and some of the texturing. And let me know down in the comments below if you guys think I should change anything about the colors or kind of flat style this terrain has. So now we can get into the exciting stuff, but before I do that, I'm going to move the mock off the desk so we can see and check out this stuff real easy. Starting off, we have the structural rings for the pit design. Now, you saw me build them in a time lapse, and you probably noticed that they're all crumpled up and folded, and that's just because I will not actually be using them for a week or two once I get all of the panels done. So it's a lot easier to store them like this than in the full ring form, and it's not like it's really hurting them. They were not perfect circles anyways. So, very happy I got this tedious work out of the way. Moving on to the next bit of progress, as you can see here, I have 4 of these panels, which are just random colors and pieces that are put together, and you can see there are 4 extra brackets on them. And that is so I can connect the large pillars that will be on the edges of the pit. Now I will show you a concept art that kind of represents what I'm going to be referencing this design off of. Now, these are going to be covered up, as you will see, so they can be random colors, which will allow me to save a lot of pieces. Now, as you can see for this, I had to raise the camera up a lot higher because of how tall this is. It gets all the way up, I want to say, about 2 feet. I mean, that may be a little bit of an exaggeration, but it is very tall, and I am also pretty far away. As you can see, this is about full reach from behind the camera, and I can just reach it, so you can kind of get an idea of the overall size of this. Now, I will switch over to a voiceover and give you an in-depth view of the build. Okay, so starting off, the entire front edge of this pillar goes all the way down the wall of the pit. And there is a gap currently that will be filled by various pipes along these lines. Now, I also have these crossbars mainly for structural support, but also some nice detail. And the entire side is pretty blank currently, but I will be adding a lot more detail over the entire thing. I have also used one of the very light bluish gray pieces here, just connected and used as kind of a vent or some industrial type thing. The section down here I think looks pretty good, and it just fills a slight gap because that bottom part does not have the proper angle. And it just slides under and fills the gap. I think it actually looks better with that little addition on the side than without it, even if it were flush with the edge of the pit. Moving on to the back, this panel here is just completely loose and wedged between some wedge plates, and it is simple. It's just a couple of panels connected together, and it fits in with friction, but in the final product it will be secured. And this whole back section will go down to the platform level, which will be somewhere in the area there. Now, removing this top section here, this is probably my favorite part of the build, and removing this panel here will reveal how I made it, and it's fairly simple. It's just using a couple of these snot bricks and clips. Now, it goes on top of the tower as kind of a vent, I'm guessing. This is just based off the concept art for Jedi Fallen Order, as you can see. And I really love how this looks, and I'm really happy with the design, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below. Now, if I lay it down and remove this back panel, it reveals that I only have a 3x space to connect all the walls, the front panel, and the back panels, which are pretty difficult parameters to work with, but I make do, and this should all turn out really nicely in the end. Okay everybody, so sadly that is going to wrap up this episode of building an Imperial Refinery in LEGO. I am very happy with the amount of progress I was able to make in this 2-week episode, and that is the reason I'm going to be switching from every week release to every other week. Mainly for being able to put more effort and time into each episode, as well as just making a lot more progress than I would be able to releasing a video every week. So anyways, that is going to wrap up this video. If you did enjoy, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in episode 4 of building an Imperial Refinery in LEGO.